listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be with you here today. It's going to be a fine day because we can make it that way. Yes, it is Wednesday, November the 16th today, and we've just been going over our, coming off our last week, Remembrance Day week, talking about what that means, and had a really great time, a lot of great chats about that. And a lot of insights of just looking at what that means to people in Sudbury. A lot of surprises and some not so surprising. A lot of things that I learned last week, which is really great. And so thanks everyone who chimed in on that conversation. And continue to do so. We're live right here on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio. That you can catch that as you're driving to work in the morning or on your standard radio. If you want to catch us online and stream us, you basically go cklu.ca, you go to the Radio Player Canada app, you click on that, and the streamer opens. You can stream us, or you can actually download that app, listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. And you can watch the show live on Facebook, facebook.com/Sudbury News, YouTube at youtube.com/Sudbury News, and make sure to comment, because this is your show. We're basically a community conversation, and we're happy to have so many people that join us each and every day. We seem to have a very good conversation, and we do a deep dive each and every day into some topic that everyone's talking about around, the city, that doesn't necessarily have to do with the city, but it definitely reflects on us, and we find those things important. But cover weather, sports, and news headlines, local, and it's something we've been doing since March, and we've really appreciated those that have been with us. Thanks to the Facebook monitors doing your job, the YouTube monitors. I have a lot of questions as to things we'll talk about in the show today. Why it just seems that, I was watching the followers kind of going up, and then they go down, and then they go up and they go down. And it just seems a little odd to me that, not too many people go and unfollow things that often, and just to see it happening lately, we're at 4,833 people, and then it goes to 4,834, 35, and then it goes back down to 33, and then it goes up to 34, down to 33, up to 35 again. Just weird things going on. And I'll show a lot of the people that are on the show aren't showing that they follow. I'll show you that. I'll show you. You're probably one of those people. If you're watching right now, I'll show you where it says you've been invited to follow the page, but you're not actually following it. I don't know what's going on there. So I would just, it just, the more people it shows that are following the page, it would be nice to just reflect reality instead of some algorithm getting in the way. But good morning. How are you doing today, Jen? Hope you're having a wonderful day. With that, we're also going to be joined by Brian Poulain shortly after the weather and sports, and he'll be with us. He's already coming on, which is great. I just muted his mic so he can get all settled in. Anyone looking for work from home job? We need Amazon workers. The job pays $15 to $36 an hour. Oh my goodness. There you go. I hope that's not a scam. It looks like it could be. So click at your own risk or whatever. That's not something we're promoting ourselves. But if that's true, it looks like, Amazon could be hiring. But again, just research that for yourself. Good morning, David. Glad to have you with us. Oh, yes. So you did report the spam message. So it is. Yeah, you can kind of tell those, eh? Even though, hey, I work from home Amazon job sounds pretty good. I think that's probably why it's part of the scam, because a lot of people would definitely go for that. Anyways, thanks for being with us this morning, and thanks, Shane, for that. We'll be back with some weather right after this, some sports, and then Brian Poulain will be joining us momentarily. Sudbury weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. It's currently -6 degrees, feels like -13, light snow, 88% humidity. And today you can expect periods of light snow ending this morning, then cloudy with a 30% chance of flurries. The wind, it's regular 20 kilometers, but it's coming from the north. It'll become light late this morning. High of -3, wind chill, -13 this morning, and -7 this afternoon. The UV index always in the winter low, and it's no exception as we come into this season that it's 1 today. Tonight, mainly cloudy, 40% chance of flurries overnight. The wind will be 15 kilometers. Low -9, wind chill, -7 this evening, but overnight it will dip to -14. Thursday, a mix of sun and cloud, 40% chance of flurries in the morning. High of -4, wind chill -15. And your long term, or your 7-day, it looks like a 40% chance of flurries tomorrow. High of -14. Friday, 60% chance of the white stuff. High of -3. Saturday, 60% chance of flurries. High of -4. And then that's pretty much all they're predicting for flurries. And then Sunday, cloudy, -6. Monday, mix of sun and cloud, -4. And then Tuesday, the same, but -2. So there you go. That's your weather. Here's what it looks like if you are watching. If you're listening on CKLU, it's your regular couple clearing spots over northern Ontario, and the rest clouds, as it always looks like. So there you go. Weather sponsored by sudburyweather.ca. That's where it lands on our sudbury.news page, and we will be ever improving that page to make sure that there's more weather-related timely information for everyone out there. So anyways, we'll be back right after this with a little bit of sports. Sudbury Wolves in action this weekend, coming up Friday and Sunday, it looks like. Yep. So the Wolves will host the Colts on Friday and the Frontenacs on Sunday in a weekend doubleheader. And the game on Friday will be 7:05 puck drop, and then on Sunday 2:05. And yeah, there's like 7 people, 7 players on the Colts that are drafted going to the NHL. So that's pretty cool. There's 5 on the Frontenac. So if you want to see a lot of prospects, NHL prospects this weekend, it's a great time to get out there and see them. So the Wolves finish off their 7-game homestand with a doubleheader this weekend on Friday. They welcome the division rivals, the Barrie Colts, 7:05. And then the Frontenacs on Sunday, 2:05. The weekend will also mark the debut of the new Sudbury Wolves head coach, Derek McKenzie, who will be behind the bench. He's already come for his first practice, so he's already here in Sudbury, had his first practice with the team. Also, Joe Ranger was the OHL goalie of the week this week. The Wolves won. They're on a 2-game winning streak. so far, winning 6-3 and 6-1 in their last two games, and Joe Ranger was a huge part of that, and he is the OHL goalie of the week. And so that's your sports. So we'll have the games right here on CKLU 96.7 FM, both of them, as we have all the games, home games and road games. If you can't make it out, but do your best to make it out. It really is a great experience. They got the new Jumbotron, great sound now, and it's a really great experience. Wolves Friday and Sunday in town. After that, they hit the road, so you won't see them for a bit. So if you want a great night out, it's not expensive, it's really entertaining, and you're supporting local sports and you're supporting local period, get out and watch the games. Tickets are always available. I've never seen a game that's been sold out. So we're not trying to sell you on creating urgency or anything. Tickets are selling fast. You might not get any. You're not going to do that. But it is a great night out. Every seat in that arena is a good seat, and you really do get to experience the game. And the in-between stuff is pretty cool too. The things they have all kinds of cool sponsors, things you could win. They got the T-shirt thing that they gave away free T-shirts in between the periods, things like that. It's great fun for the family. And again, it's not that much money. Doesn't cost much for a ticket, like $15, and popcorn isn't much. You can get a popcorn, and apparently, according to Dario Zulich, they have the best hot dogs in the OHL, so you can grab a hot dog and have a great night out, either Friday or Sunday. So make sure to, if you can, get out and support the Sudbury Wolves. Sudbury Sports, brought to you by SudburySports.com. That's Randy Pascal, and he is that Sudbury Sports guy. You can visit his website for all of the latest in local sports, SudburySports.com. We'll be back right after this with the headlines and Brian Poulin. All right, so as we just get Brian's mic on, we'll welcome him this morning. How you doing, Brian?
Good morning.
Good, yes. So I'll take that as a doing good.
It's a doing good morning. Yeah, it's not too bad. Good morning.
Then you look out your window. What do you see? Is there any white stuff on the ground?
Some white stuff.
Yeah. So it's our first.
It had to come.
Snowfall.
It had to come. So
yeah.
it's at least it's not like 10 centimeters deep.
Yeah,
sort of gradually ease us into it.
A couple years ago, right? Halloween, we had snow and it stayed, long winter. Apparently they're predicting it's going to be a later beginning to a lot of what we could expect in winter, and then we're going to get an early spring. So
so a harsh winter and an early spring.
And I don't even know about harsh. I don't even.
I'm thinking harsh. I feel.
Well, every winter is harsh up
my
here.
Bones. It's weird,
Every winter is harsh
like
as far as
degrees of harshness.
Yeah, exactly. Like on a scale of one to Sudbury, how bad is it?
One to Sudbury.
Yeah. It's definitely, we got all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
So I just want to go through some of the headlines here, Brian, and see what you think about.
I think that's why we're here.
Yeah, we're going to talk some news, and we've been adding a little bit of, I guess what we call a deep dive.
I've been listening
into something that, is a hot topic, if you will, that doesn't necessarily have to be Sudbury centric, but it's something that Sudburyans are talking about. There's no doubt about it. So this is interesting, and I'd like to come back to this one for our deep dive. So we're not going to really get into it. A lot of times I give in to temptation, and I can't just say the headline and move on. I have to then talk about it for an hour. And then we end up with no time left. So that's what I don't want to do. I want to get through the headlines and then kind of, dive into the ones that are more, you can unpack them more. So this is one of those. And a lot of oversight of teachers' pension fund, despite possible FTX loss, Ontario government. The teachers' pension plan, one of the best out there. arguably, but a lot of people, they know that the teachers' pension plan, I guess they invested in FTX, which you should know was the cryptocurrency exchange that just recently.
An exchange that just recently had to file for
bankruptcy.
It's quite shocking, actually, to me.
And I have some really cool intel on this FTX, so I want to get to that.
So I've heard.
Yeah, at the end of the show, ties to Ukraine, ties to the midterm elections, some real juicy stuff. But anyways, yeah, we'll get into that. Next headline here. It's this is all over the news today. Premier Doug Ford under fire for showing up in legislature without a mask. So, yesterday...
I'm sorry, what was that headline again?
Premier Doug Ford under fire for showing up in legislature without a mask.
Without a mask, oh.
Yeah. That's just after the top doctor for Ontario urged everyone out there to wear a mask in Ontario while indoors.
And also right after he said...
You're right. He also reiterated that on Sunday, or actually said it before. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He said that before the actual announcement from the top doctor of Ontario that
maybe it's an invisible mask.
You know what? Yeah, you can get those, right? They're just painted like the rest of your face. They're just kind of like, so you put them on and you can't tell you're wearing a mask. I've always wanted one of those. You take a picture of the lower part of your face and put the picture on the mask, and it looks like you're not even wearing a mask.
I have to ask Doug where he gets his.
Yeah, there you go. But he said it's a personal choice.
Right.
It's a personal choice, and I actually agree with that. I mean, it's the optics of somebody though coming out and saying, "Yeah, if I came on and I urged everyone wear a mask, it's very, important." And then I came on the show and there was someone in the studio or whatever. I don't know. I was in public, indoors, and I wasn't wearing a mask. Well, then, yeah, there is a bit of accountability there. But even though I agree, he says everyone has a choice. But he was the one who came out and urged everybody to do that. So do as
he also said that he's going to stand behind his team, and he's going to go with that.
Yeah.
With that. So if he's standing behind your team, well, it's like you say, it's a personal choice. But as the premier, weird. There he is.
So Shane has a comment here. It goes to show they don't even believe what they tell us about masks. They don't even hide it anymore. Okay. Well, again, what message does that send to us, right? Kind of thing. This is what I was thinking yesterday while I was outside. It was cold enough where I could see my breath. In the cold, we're used to that. We're just talking about the seasons changing. You go outside, you see your breath. I would be interested to see if someone wasn't wearing a mask and they were talking and the amount of, you could see your breath and then someone put on a mask and talk outside and see if their breath didn't go into the cold, like if you couldn't see their breath, and then that would almost in and of itself prove that a mask works, because I haven't been convinced yet that because of this is the thing. Can a virus, is the virus smaller than the particle, than the mask itself, right? And the answer is yes. It's a nano. That's right. It's a nanoparticle that goes through that. And so if you can see your breath through a mask, and those are water droplets basically that you can see, which is steam. And is the virus smaller than a water droplet? And the answer is yes. Then the virus is on one of those water droplets in your breath. And so that in and of itself. So I'm waiting. I'll put on a mask. I'll take my camera out. I'll do my own little experiment. I won't go online.
I think I'll do that as well, actually, just to.
Yeah, because I think that in and of itself, we live in a climate where we can do that, right? Because you can see that. But Karen says, the point is that they're leaving it up to each adult. Adult is capitalized here. Because if they mandated again, I'm sure they would break loose. I'm sure hell would break loose. Some of us haven't stopped considering we have babies in the family, and RSV is rampant. That's true.
RSV is rampant, right?
Yeah. And now this is the thing.
It is rampant.
Yeah, it is. So influenza, has that always been part of our society? Even before COVID, it disappeared during COVID, by the way. There were zero cases of influenza the whole time they were taking COVID numbers. And oddly enough, the COVID numbers matched what influenza usually was each and every year. But there were no influenza numbers. So this is my conclusion, is that the influenza was just a regular, because COVID comes from the cold family, the flu family, and so does influenza. And so basically that's what ended up happening. So now influenza's back. They're admitting it, they're just saying influenza is there. So we've always had flus and colds and viruses. They've always been here. They've always been with us. And we should have always been cautious of our babies and our elderly and our children with getting sick. And when they were sick, we should have always had solutions for those. Now, necessarily, if a government is telling me, look, we can already see the government's telling us, hey, the pandemic's over, we're going back to normal. And then they're telling us in another breath, hey, everything's going up, you got to wear a mask. So they're not decided in what's going on, and that's normal. And that's what you get when you get top down. Like, you should be deciding, and you should have always been deciding what to do about your health. Like, you shouldn't have to look up to a government to tell you what to do to be healthy. If you're doing that, then there's an issue there. You should be the one. Or you say, oh, there's experts. They're experts telling us, though. Agent Orange was used from experts on people throughout history. All kinds of things were used from experts, right? So that's not just the answer. Like, okay, an expert can be right. They have been right. They have been wrong too, though. So you need to exercise your own abilities to understand, and ultimately you
make your own choice.
Make a choice. And so you nobody is any worse off. Like, I see people driving around in their cars by themselves with a mask on. What goes through my mind? There's no one in your car. You're by yourself. It's your car, and you are driving with a mask on. So to me, I'm like, that's a little overboard, However, right away I go, but that's your choice, and you're choosing that, and I applaud that. So if that's what you feel you need to do to help your health, go right ahead. And we need to have that respect for each other in that, right? Instead of putting people down.
Sure. It definitely have to have respect for
so let's see here.
People's choices, any choice.
It's the washing hands part that counts more, if you ask me. Yeah, that's true. Look, and this is another thing I found funny. When all this COVID stuff came out, it was like, make sure to wash your hands. And this is how you wash your hands. And they had like actual little posters up of how to wash your hands. And I thought
effectively.
Yeah. No, but I just thought, wow, that's interesting. Someone has to be shown a pictograph
how to
wash your hands. Now, I've also felt that our young people need those same kind of pictographs of how to make a sandwich or how to make an omelet, because sometimes we just think everyone knows these basic things. But
not necessarily so.
No. So I just thought that was kind of funny in some ways, but then further thought about it, I was like, well, you know what? Maybe people do need to know. Jerome says nothing good comes from pills. And remember when we used to not worship pharmaceutical companies at the altar? And we thought, we kind of knew that if you got a pill for something that you're going to have to take another pill for what the side effects were from the pill you took. And
So
then
the
you got to
side
take another
effect
pill.
is worse
Yeah.
than the cure. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of thing, right? And you listen to those commercials and they're like, and the side effects could include blah, 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 and then eventually consult your doctor, you know what I mean? But that's what they should
Before
be doing.
taking.
But why didn't they do that for their solution for COVID? You know, they should be saying that too. Side effects could include blah, 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 blah. But they don't. They bypass that whole thing. They bypass
Yeah, they
every
have,
single regulation to do with what they built up years after years after years for these types of solutions. And they didn't come with a cautionary side for people to make those decisions. And that's what
Not very much information out there in terms
No.
of.
So we got a backlog of comments here I just want to get to. Jerome, fortified immunity beats masks hands down. And I agree.
So fortified meaning herd immunity, I suppose.
No, build up your immunity. Like take
Build it fortified.
vitamins, exercise, lose weight, be your ideal weight, eat well, sleep well, get out, get some fresh air. What things we should have known and been saying for years and years and years and years. Humans have not changed. Our makeups have not changed. Organic chicken broth is just as healthy now as it was 20 years ago, and will do the same, have the same effects.
Sure.
These measures have weakened. I just want to make sure I'm up on these comments here. These measures have weakened our immune systems greatly. Yeah, because if you don't get exposed to germs and things, your body can't build up antibodies. And it's kind of like if you don't exercise for a while. So you're inside, you know, you're not exercising, so you're not building up the muscles of your immune system.
Well,
right?
what does the vaccine do? Like the mRNA vaccine, the Moderna vaccine is basically, I mean, any vaccine. You modify, you're modifying, you know, your immune system's instructions on how to deal with something.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, this is what you're doing each and every time. So here it is. You have an immune system that knows how to battle certain things, and then now you're overriding this instruction that your immune system has to deal with COVID, and we're not even sure if those instructions are the right instructions.
I like where you're coming from there, Brian. I like the way you word that too. Like our bodies are well intricate machines that are made for these types of things, or else we as a race wouldn't be around. A virus would have wiped us out many years ago if we weren't kind of made for this type of thing. And you're right, we're overriding the very natural thing that we were given with something that hasn't really been proven. Like our immune systems have been proven over time. People are afraid of fevers, but if you know anything about health, you know the fever is actually there to get rid of whatever sickness you have. So your body is going into a fever to get rid of whatever that is. That's the mechanism. But people want to avoid the pain of going through that. And so they bypass that and they take medications. So, Karen, I think this is kind of comical. She says, some people forget to take off their masks when they're driving their cars. And I can see that too, right? So it's not that they wouldn't, it's just, and they're going store to store to store. I think they just kind of keep it on if they, are wearing it in the stores.
I was just quickly, I was out on the lake the other day, going on a boat ride, Whitefield, and, right in the middle of the lake. I mean, there's nobody around, but there was a canoe that had passed us by, and the couple in the canoe were wearing a mask. And I thought, well, you're in the middle of the lake here. Nowhere near anybody. And,
well, again, right?
So it's a choice.
Yeah. And you have to kind of applaud freedom of choice, because if I start saying to that couple, oh my, look how stupid that is. You shouldn't do that. And you try and teach them, some of the science.
But initially I thought it was quite funny. I thought, I was like,
for sure.
A little funny,
Yeah. But again, right?
Respecting the choice, that's fine. I'm not going to, hey, why are you wearing a mask out there?
No.
You're crazy. That's cool.
That's right. And I think that the principle of freedom we've been talking about that last week, right? That principle of you're free to take care of your health in that way, if that's what you feel. Now, this is, I just want to get to a couple comments here, and then we can move on. I take care of my health without being
Fanatic.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. You can read it there. Right? And I can't even remember the last time I got sick. Oh, ever cool. I just had a bit of a cold and a sore throat myself. And again, that's normal. I get one about every 2 years. I always have. Always. That was before this this mystery virus has come around our world. I disagree. Okay, good. I like that. At the start of a cold, 2 oil of oregano the first day, 1 pill each day after CUTS or cuts a cold in half.
Okay,
1 pill. But what pill? Like what pill are we talking about here? There's many different kinds of pills, right? Been doing it for years. And for a cold sore, using baking soda paste. Yeah, exactly. Natural things. Other than the pill, I'm not sure what pill you're referring to. But yeah, you just want to let us know, Karen, because it sounds like you got a good little system down there. And
I mean, I was a victim to the COVID. I think I caught it. I think I caught it twice, in fact.
yeah,
Both times, it was, it felt like I had, a flu, a really bad flu.
yeah,
Unvaccinated, but I acted fast.
yeah.
I didn't load up on over-the-counter drugs or anything like that, but just the simple things, maybe, a couple of extra strength Tylenol, the vitamin D, and, the neocitrin stuff, and just lots of rest. And I think, 2 or 3 days later, I was, still feeling rather weak, but, functional.
Yeah.
I got to say, COVID was kind of weird. Do I regret not being vaccinated? No. I go about my business.
And that's the thing. Everybody should have
without wearing a mask. That's
right.
my choice.
Yeah.
But I don't feel that I myself need one, even though I've had the COVID. I often ask myself the question: people who have been vaccinated and then catch COVID, would they be as sick had they not? Is the vaccine a contributing factor to the level of, to the degree of sick that you get? What if you had gotten sick the same way but without the vaccine? How would you have felt?
I'm living for this moment. That question you just asked, because the comments coming in at the exact same time you're saying it, which goes right into where I wanted to go anyways. So Miles saying he caught it, only felt it for 2 days like a cold, but he's had 4 vaxes because of my work. He had to, right? Because he would have been fired if he did not get them. But this is my question, and I was thinking of this morning. Oh, how many people had to, right? If you wanted to keep your job, you were told you either, and now Toronto is going back and hiring back at least 350 people. They're offering those people their jobs back. But this is what I was told, and we were all told, that if you got it at the beginning, it was you wouldn't be susceptible to it. It was going to eradicate it, and then everyone started getting it, and then they were getting COVID, and then it was like, now what do we say? Or that's what the impression. It's like we get the impression from Doug Ford when he doesn't wear his mask. I get impressions from pharmaceutical companies and top doctors when they change what they say after it rolls out, and what they did say afterwards was, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, it's not eradicating it, but you won't go to the hospital if you get it, because you won't have it as bad. Now, this is the question I was thinking of this morning was, were you in the hospital before you got your vaccine ever with this? How do you know that that's right, what they just said? How can anyone know that statement is right? That you'd only have to know if people were in the hospital and then you got vaxxed, and then you got it again and you weren't in the hospital. That's the only way you would know. And in the hospital, I get deathly ill and I don't go to the hospital, because what are they going to do? Really, honestly? You know how many people, they get sniffles and they go to the hospital every single time? It's like, and there's lots of people in the health industry in my family, and I understand the health industry, and I have a lot to say about it, and I've had a lot of interactions with it, good and bad. And my opinion is, if you got a broken arm, hospital's the best place to go. You need an operation, it is the best place, because that's what they do. If you have a sickness, something that, there's way better ways to treat than pharmaceutical drugs and things like that are synthetic, that aren't, like you said, like we don't even know the effects. And there's way too many comments coming in right now. I might not be able to get to them, Brian. I don't know. I'll put them up on the screen, and if you could read them.
Sure, maybe I can. Yeah. So hugging, shaking hands, kissing on the cheek, all methods that exchange microbiomes between humans, helping the immune, and then I can't read the rest, system.
Yeah, the immune system. Yeah, that's from Jerome. And then Lise says,
I too am vaxxed, no regrets. Unfortunately, there were adverse reactions to some people, as all drugs have adverse effects.
Exactly. That's pretty much it. And I think what's happening is people are not acknowledging that. I just think acknowledge it, and then be very open to being respectful of everyone's decisions of why they did what they did, and it's okay. And let's move on. But I don't think it's going to be moving on. So Karen says, probably showing my age, but how many remember the grandmothers using bread poultice for chest colds? Poultice?
Yeah, that's the way I would pronounce that. Chest.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
I don't remember that myself. So maybe I'm showing my age.
You know what I liked for chest colds? That Vicks Vapor Rub.
Yeah, I remember that as a kid too.
Old-fashioned stuff. The old-fashioned stuff.
That and the what is it? The steamer there.
Grand stuff.
You put it in there, and it's like a humidifier. You put the Vicks Vapor Rub in the humidifier, and then it just clears you up. The Vax was good for some and not for others. Birth control and other drugs, same thing. Yeah, you're right. This is the thing. Like, we got to acknowledge the fact that it's not this unicorn with a rainbow dust thing that, you can't just ignore some of the other sides of it as well. I'm used to vaxes anyways, so I have no issues. I would get them anyways. Oh, there you go. So Miles just wanted to make sure that he's saying that he is a supporter of that.
Had a flu shot in over 25 years.
Yep. So again, you're seeing both sides of the coin here, right? People who had, people have, and this is what I like. I like just seeing the fact that we're all having the same conversation, and we're just talking about what we've experienced and what we know, and both sides can settle on, you're doing what you feel you need to do for your health, and that's good, and we can move on from that. Sure, everything scientifically is probabilities. Yeah, science means it's always learning. Like they've changed the name of science now to science is the absolute truth. Listen to it or you'll die. No, science needs to be questioned.
No,
that's what science is.
Science is a learning thing. It's a constant learning thing. It's not always absolute. Definitely not.
Oh, and then Karen's saying it's mustard police.
Oh, okay.
Bread. The bread one is used for stepping on rusty nails. Yeah. That's kind of like, you got to get your, whatever that shot is, the booster or whatever, whenever you step on a rusty nail.
Oh, the boost, you
get some kind of shot.
Tetanus.
Yeah, exactly. So let's move on from this, because that almost would take the place of our deep dive today. I wasn't really expecting to go too much into there. Sudbury hosts their first skilled trades career fair for students. Now, this is to give students a chance to hands-on experience what would be like to be in the trades. So they get to experience. So it's like a fair, a trade show where they go to and they can do a little bit of welding, see what that's like, carpentry, you name it, whatever trades there are, and they get to experience it. And it's such a great thing. It was an Ontario initiative called Skill Up, and it's gone through many, the colleges and now public and high schools Rainbow Schools had it, and everyone had a great experience with that. And I agree. I think that's awesome. Bit of a video. So the finance minister on finishing Highway 69, we're all waiting for that. Lise was just saying she remembers the old remedies as well. And police, it's pronounced Polis.
Poultice.
Poultice.
No, Poultice.
Poultice. Yeah. Okay, cool. So this is the finance minister talking about highway. I don't know. Were you thinking about this, Brian? Like whenever you drive, like when are they going to finish this thing, this 4-laning of Highway 69 to Toronto?
Well, yeah.
I know I do.
It's been going on for an eternity almost.
I know. So
Think
let's just listen in. So this is CTV interviewing the Minister of Finance on this particular issue.
And the finance minister was asked about the status of Highway 69 south of Sudbury and when it will be finished. But Bethan Falvey steered clear of giving a timeline.
Because I always ask my team over here, I just asked them again, how are we doing on Highway 69? Because I've driven down that highway. I know exactly what you're talking about, and we're going to continue to push to get that finished. And it's not just Highway 69. You know, we're doing things up in Timmins that we're going to put some shovel in the ground on the connecting link. We're bringing back the Northlander.
And the minister also adds almost $1 billion of infrastructure was added to the north in the last year's budget.
Yeah, so I like one of the comments that someone made here. They summed it up very, very well. So this is from Gabriel. It says, the minister made no comment on a timeline, had to ask staff how the project was doing. Still didn't give an answer except to say they are working on it to complete it, and followed up by redirecting about working on projects in Timmins and bringing back the Northlander. And I like the fact he goes, you know, I've driven that road.
Smoke and screen.
It's like, who hasn't?
Screens.
If you've been a politician, yeah, smoke screen, yeah.
Mirrors.
So it looks like Highway 69 will not be completed anytime soon, ladies and gents.
Oh, what a
That's
surprise.
all I got to say. City of Greater Sudbury, the landfill is down the scale is down for repairs. Due to technical issues with the scale, residents should expect longer than usual wait times at the Sudbury landfill until further notice. The site will remain open, but the scale will not be operational. This means all chargeable loads will be assessed tipping fees based on flat rates. So I guess, you know, you can't go in there and go, yeah, but they're going to tell you what it costs because the weighing scale is not functional. So
it's not functional.
No. Residents Residents may visit one of the other landfill or transfer stations within the city, view the live camera feed at the Sudbury landfill site to see how busy it is before making the trip and check. I think every street in the city needs a webcam, you know, so we could follow, you know, if we're thinking of going somewhere, we could see the traffic. I've always thought that. Yeah, traffic.
Doesn't Google Traffic kind of do that in a sense?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, if you plan your route,
or
right?
Apple Maps and so on.
They'll tell you
all that is reported.
Yeah.
Into a central server and then pushed out to all the map systems out there, like Garmin and Apple Maps and Google Maps and MapQuest.
That's true. Yep.
Every GPS that you can think of.
Yeah, that's true. They'll just show you, but I don't know. I just like to see it for myself.
But the ideal of having a webcam to look at yourself,
yeah,
you know, live at the moment is kind of like
yeah, you can pass and go, hey mom, you know. Yeah. I'm just kidding. So Karen was saying they should bring back trade schools. Remember those?
Yeah, sure. I went to one actually. It's called the Canadian Forces. Great trade school.
Oh, for sure, definitely. But fantastic. Yeah, I think they're a great idea and hey, great timing. We do definitely need people in the trades. There's no doubt about it. So
sure, we need people in the forces too.
Well, but, for sure, yes,
sure, absolutely. In the near future, you know, don't dodge the traffic, boys and girls.
And then Miles is saying, and traffic cop webcam on every light, not just 14. I don't know, Miles. I'm not
sorry. What was that, Miles?
Miles wants more cameras on the lights to prohibit people from maybe going through or not stopping 100%. I'm not a fan. Again, I think
The red
think-
light camera.
Yeah, I think the police state idea, the total police state. I'm not a fan of that.
Mistake.
Have you ever
Don't
made a
like it.
mistake before? It's just like this draconian kind of future where everything is cameras, and that's where we're going. China has more cameras than they have people, and everybody's on camera, and everything they do is tracked and recorded, and they're given points when they do a good deed when they're seen on camera. Like, let's say you help an elderly person across the street, and people think that's a great idea. Oh, they're given points, and they're deducted points. So it's all points. They can get rid of their money system, and it's all based on points on how the government feels you're doing. And that's the bottom line is
Wow.
how the government feels you're doing. They reward you or take things away from you.
Away.
The cameras work in Calgary.
Hmm.
Well, the cameras work. They work in China too. Like, they work everywhere. Well, you think
Everywhere.
someone's going to commit a crime if they're being found out on a camera? And I mean, the idea is great, but the end result is a police state. Everyone's tracked. If that's what you want, which we are going to, we're going into a full-on communist society. And like I said, a lot of my friends are just waiting for that. They just can't. They just think it's going to be a utopian world of communism, and they're going to love it, and everyone's going to be equal, and everyone's going to be the same, and it's going to be such a
Well,
beautiful
I know
world.
people that think the same way, and I kind of like, I don't know, I'm not so sure about that, but
Yep.
I myself personally don't like the ideal, but
Yeah, but that's where we're going.
It certainly seems that that's the direction that we've
And-
taken,
Because
and
more people than not are going to want it, because that's just the way society works, right?
and those that don't, well,
Yeah, they're going to be anti-light, anti-cameras,
right.
anti-cameras.
And this
Yeah.
this kind of brings me to the privacy guide. I've been developing this privacy guide because we're all going to be dealing with this in the future, and that's where we're going to have a choice. We already have these choices on all our devices. It's just that nobody knows of them.
Yeah.
Who does a privacy checkup on their devices? So we're gonna, my plan. We're gonna put up some documents on the website, and it's basically a privacy reset guide to all the important settings you need to change. Not just on your phone, your Android phone, but we're gonna do this, with your iPhone. I'm going to do this with the Twitter settings. If you have a Facebook account, I'm going to go every single through privacy setting there. Each guide will be divided into 3 sections, so you can decide the level that you want to,
For sure.
cameras watching you and
Yeah.
devices recording your actions and where you go.
And where
these
does
are
all
gonna
that
be
go?
choices, right?
Yeah,
Where does
but
it all go? Yeah.
Where does all that eventually, if there's cameras everywhere, like, it doesn't matter. You have zero privacy because you could turn off all these things on your phone if you want to, but a camera is listening to you and watching you as you leave your house, and all that's being recorded. And Miles says, well, driving isn't a right. So you should be recorded when you're driving everywhere you go, because it's a potential weapon. A car is a potential weapon. Privileges that are potential dangers must be controlled, like driving and guns. Well, everything needs, eventually you go down that road, Miles, everything needs to be controlled. Everything you say, because your words are a weapon too, right? Because it hurts someone's feelings. Your words are weapons. So now eventually, and with this virus stuff, you're a weapon. So you're going out and making other people sick, you're a weapon. Oh, I can make that argument all the day long. It's coming. It's going to be, everybody's going to, it's going to come with, like they say in Star Wars, the Revenge of the Sith, this is how democracy dies, with thunderous applause, because that's the way it's going to come in, because the idea of being safe over being free is going to be the whole idea. Make us safe, please, make us safe. Go to someone who's going to, okay, but you can't, you're going to have to take away your freedoms in order to be safe. You're going to have to be camera on you 24/7, no rights. You only have privileges. That's what Miles is alluding to, right? He agrees with the Marxist doctrine of
Very, very sad.
privileges over rights, which is fine. Most people in Canada, that's what we've been taught in schools. So we believe what we've been taught in school, right? Which is all Marxism, and that's an ideology. It's not a fact. It's just comes from a school of thought. So then that is true, but that's what happens. You end up, if someone's given a gun, they could use it for a bad purpose or a good purpose, right? And yet you can't say that in Canada. Like I just say that at work, and it's like everyone wants to attack me. But anyways, unfortunately, our time is
Running out.
oh, it's running out, but it's not done. I thought it was actually done,
It
so
isn't.
that's good.
We've got 7 minutes.
No, we actually only have 5 because there's commercials we have to get to. But,
Right.
trusting in the state, well, controlling weapons, it's always works out. Yeah. So what happens is they get rid of the guns of the citizens first. Mao Zedong did that. Stalin did that. Hitler. They get rid of all the guns of their citizens. So that way, the only people who have guns are them. So the ones with the guns they're the ones in control, right? And that just is what it is. And again, we want that as Canadians. We want to be surveyed 24/7. We don't want choices. We want choices to be made for us. We want a living wage. We want to be paid for doing nothing. And we want this unicorn world. And we're going to get it. We are going to get the unicorn world. And everyone's then afterwards going to see what that is. But until then, it doesn't matter who's telling them. It's just going to happen. And I know that already. So no one's going to stop it. We're going to get it, whether you like it or not. And hey, at least most of us like it, and we'll be the ones who ask for it. So at least you'll get what you asked for, right? Which is great.
True.
Right? So,
True.
no, you don't make that judgment on me. No, you can't make that judgment on me. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand exactly, but it sounds like if driving's not a privilege and guns aren't a privilege, I'm not a communist because of dangers, specifically not everything come on don't be ridiculous. Okay, so yes, I'm not being ridiculous. What you are saying are communist values. So you might not be a communist altogether, but those particular ones belong to that ideology. It's kind of like saying I like chicken balls from Chinese food, but you don't like anything else. You say, I like chicken balls. Someone could say, oh, you like Chinese food. No, don't make that assumption. I don't like Chinese food. I just like chicken balls. So that's kind of like what you're saying there.
The chicken balls.
Yeah, but maybe did you try something else? Maybe you will like the other thing, maybe chicken fried rice. You might like that too, and you might like other things when you go down that road from the buffet.
Sure.
So, anyways, Ontario Auditor General to release Laurentian report on Thursday.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now that's interesting. Can't wait for that. That's tomorrow. So they're going to be releasing that. So we'll be talking about this on tomorrow's show and on Friday, obviously. And Santa Claus Parade is coming back as well to downtown this weekend. Are you going to the Santa Claus Parade, Brian?
Haven't given that any thought. Haven't gone to the other ones. Don't think I'll be going to this one.
Yeah. Well, I think it's great the fact that we're having a Santa Claus parade, first time since everything was locked down.
It's a kids thing,
Yeah, Caroline says downtown at night with kids.
Yeah,
I think I'll pass. I think I'll pass.
I think I'll pass with you actually. Now that you mentioned it.
But that's the thing. What are they going to do? Because the last time I was downtown, it did seem like Night of the Living Dead, unfortunately, and that's not a judgment. It actually looked a little bit like a scene from that, with the amount of people just kind of wandering who do not have homes, who have their possessions on them, just kind of walking around downtown, going about their business. It seemed like per capita, it was like 50-50 for everyone going about their business, going to work or going to an appointment or whatever. It seemed to be that there was quite a few people. So what are they going to do then? I'm just wondering, is there going to be, are people like Caroline here? Are they going to feel afraid to be downtown? And should they be afraid? I don't know. They're just human beings, right? Should people be afraid of someone just because they don't have a house? I don't know. That's the questions we have to ask ourselves.
Do you feel safe?
Yeah, and it's true, and that's a personal decision from each person too, eh? Similar to like wearing a mask or not. Like either you feel safe or you don't, depending on the circumstances. This is a really great headline. Sudbury, a chocolatier, voted winner of Canada Post Award, winning 20 grand. And this particular lady was part of the child welfare program back in the 60s. You remember the scoop
All right.
for Indigenous people?
Right.
In the news quite a bit recently. Trying to find the person here. No, that's the wrong story. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think that is the wrong story, dude.
I clicked on it,
Oh,
but it
there,
went
there
to,
we go. There we go.
it went to Verdicchio's. Verdicchio's is putting on something to raise money, and they're making some really great meals for those who don't have any. And Jerome is saying it's heartbreaking, the situation downtown.
It is heartbreaking, Jerome.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, there's been homeless camps downtown that have experienced, they've been burnt down because they don't have the proper means to warm themselves, and they've had fires. And unfortunately, a lot of their encampments have burnt down. And you could read more about that on Sudbury.com, but we shared that story on our Facebook page. So Miles, if you're still here with us today, I hope there was no offense taken. There was no offense meant in discussing. It's like if you were here and I'm discussing with you kind of thing. So I kind of figured that, but I realize when you're just texting, we're missing out on that kind of interaction. And so
yes.
I just feel comfortable speaking with you on these things. A bit of an angle of debate, I guess you can say, that I guess I probably have to watch that a little more. And I also apologize to Miles from the other day too, because I felt a little bit like I was doing the same thing to him when we were talking about the elections in the United States and some things that I had said, and I was in the wrong for sure. So I apologize again for that.
Oops. Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to deter anyone from coming on the show, but that's all the time we have today, Brian. Unfortunately, no deep dive into FTX today. We did our deep dive into our premier of Ontario and his decision not to wear a mask. So unfortunately, it's all the time we have. But Brian, you're welcome anytime. So let's text each other, and we'll get you back sooner than later.
No sweat.
Have you back on. So thanks for being with us, and thanks for commenting, everyone. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. Have a great one, everyone. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.